viewers might recognise that I am actually not in my Zoe. I am in fact in a BMW i3. This is the pure battery version, the non-range extender. No, don't worry. I didn't get rid of my Zoe. Instead, I have been offered to take this car for a weekend to see what I think, which is what I'm doing. As I said, this is the full electric version. BMW offer a range extender version, which is basically the same car with a small, I think it's a 650cc motorbike engine in the front, acting as a generator to top up the battery should you require it. Now, I'm on my way to Rosscray. I have a meeting in Rosscray, and I was planning on doing this journey with my own car. Obviously, I am now doing it with a BMW i3. Now, I started this morning with a potential 145 kilometer estimate range showing on the dial here. I have done about 50 kilometers so far. I still have another 58 to go, and I am currently driving in comfort mode, which is the normal standard driving mode, the non-limited version. It comes with 3 different driving modes. We have got, what is it called, Eco Pro and Eco Pro Plus. I think they increase the efficiency, and I think the Eco Pro Plus limits the speed to about 90 kilometers an hour and cuts off the AC. Now, yesterday I took delivery of it, as in delivery. I picked it up at the BMW dealer in Keary's BMW in Cork, Little Island. And this car had only done 64 kilometers. So it is brand new. The model I am driving is pretty much as basic as you get, so everything on this car is standard, with the only exception I think it has a deluxe parking package, which is front and rear parking sensors and parking assist, which is parallel parking. The car will actually park itself, which I'm actually looking forward to trying out, hopefully sometime today. Let's get into the things that I know so far. Keep in mind I've driven it for about 100 kilometers. What I really like is the one-foot driving. BMW have decided that because this is marketed as a city car, your accelerator paddle, there is a coast point on it, so when you reach that, it actually coasts. There's no energy going to the batteries, and as soon as you let go of the accelerator paddle, you start regenerating, similar to what Zoe does, with one big exception. If you let go of the paddle, the car will actually slowly come to a complete stop, as in the car, when you're not touching the accelerator paddle, it does not roll. Zoe rolls. I really like this because in a city and in most situations, to be honest, you do not need to touch the brake paddle. When you do touch the brake paddle, you stop quite abruptly, but when you just let go of the accelerator paddle, I'm doing 105 at the moment, but I let go of the accelerator paddle, the car comes to, this is about 90, it comes to a fairly quick stop rather rapidly, which is ideal in the city. Brilliant. So I have yet to actually have to touch the brake pedal any great deal. I really like that. I charged it last night on my home charge point, and it has the same sort of charging range. That obviously it's only a 3 kilowatt point, so that it took the same length of time as my Zoe would take to charge. This car has a 22 kilowatt battery. Of that, I think 20% is hidden. I am not entirely sure why it's hidden, so I only have about 19 kilowatts available of power, which is interesting in a sense that I am still getting about 130 kilometer range, which I would probably end up getting with Zoe as well in similar driving conditions. This car is ridiculously energy efficient. It is so easy to drive, really, really energy efficient. So it's doing 100 kilometer an hour. It should be very easy this time of year to do well over 100 kilometers at about 100 kilometer an hour, which is great. So I'm very impressed with that. Charging wise, it has a 6 kilowatt AC charger as standard, so that means that on my normal standard charge points, where Zoe would take an hour to charge, this car will take 4 hours. It does have a DC fast charger, but it uses the CCS plug. I think off the top of my head, I think it's maximum rated at like 80 or 90 kilowatts that they can take on CCS. And all the CCS chargers in the country at the moment are 50 kilowatts, I think. And that means that this car will charge to full in about half an hour, which we are going to try out when we get to our first stop in about 50 kilometers, which is Urlingford. So I'm looking forward to trying that. I'll show you guys around the car when we get to Urlingford. Bye now. So here we are, Urlingford. Let me just show you the actual charger. Now it uses the CCS, which is basically a type 2 connector with 2 DC pins underneath. So let's see if we can actually get this thing charging. Let's see now. Dig out my old card. Now here we are, CCS. Judging by the actual cobwebs, it doesn't get used a lot. Now, unlike my car, I actually don't have to press start, I think. There you go. So here we are, battery percentage 22%, and it should be charging now. So that went pretty well actually. I had the cruise control set to about 100 kilometers for most of the trip, which was nice. So let's see now. There we are, charging. I'm not entirely sure what that warning triangle is about, but it does appear to be charging. Right, let's take you around the car. So, here's the dash. The car, as standard, comes with the, I think it's the BMW eDrive or something like that. Basically this entertainment system. It's quite nice. It's like a dial. It has a touchpad where you can actually do writing on. It has so many functions. I've yet to actually fully cover or find out what the hell is all in there. The other thing that it has, obviously because it's using this for the controls of the actual, it doesn't have touchscreen, so your gear lever is not on the dash. It is this huge monstrosity. It's one of the things I'm not entirely used to yet. So you basically change gear by just turning this forward and backwards. Your start stop button is here, your park button is there. I'm sure after a while it'll get pretty self-explanatory as such. It is easy to do, but it'll take getting used to. So you've got your cruise control. It's the non-adaptive cruise control, but if you have the optional extra, you can actually have adaptive cruise control. Over here on the side are the voice control, and the voice control actually works really, really well. Mode to change different between your entertainment, as in radio or media player or something like that, how to call people, that kind of stuff. Your standard setup for lights, so we've got our fog lights, we've got our automatic headlights and off and adjustments and all that kind of stuff. What else have we got here? We've got a central storage locker, which isn't as deep as my Zoe is, but still pretty decent. And another nice feature is that it actually, this is on top of the dashboard, which I actually kind of like, because you sort of reach in. It can be a little bit hard to actually see inside. And it's a decent size, unlike my own car. Let me show you around the back. Oh yeah, another really it's a nice design feature, but I do wonder what made them think of it. Probably to save weight, I would assume. But the windows are frameless. If you notice this, right? So when you open the car, the window actually goes down a bit. So when you close the car, the window goes up. And I'm not entirely sure what the deal is with that. The other thing that the BMW i3 is known for is the fact that you cannot open the back door without opening the front door, and you've no center pillar. Again, I would imagine to save weight. Would it bother me? Probably not, considering there's barely anybody in the back of my car. It's only a 4-seater, not a 5-seater. Again, something I can live with, because there's barely anybody in my back. Now, let's step over the thing and have a look at the boot. So, the boot is not deep, unlike my own car, so as a result I was a bit disappointed to find the boot, but I was under the understanding that the actual electric motor is underneath here, so therefore, you don't actually have too much space. And what I do like is you've got your 12-volt plug here, which is handy if you've got like a cooler bag or something like that. You got a light. Seats do fold flat, unlike my own car. These are the standard wheels. Not particularly fond of them, but they're not ugly. If you do have the optional extra, let me just see, what the heck did I do with my keys? So, press and hold this. It actually, if I press and hold it, it folds in the mirrors, which is a handy feature. I really like that, because I would love to have that on my own car. But it also has a little, frunk. So it's a storage compartment. Considering there's nothing underneath here, they put a lovely little storage thing. I got a socket charger, which I've yet to use. I probably won't use in the time that I have my car. So if you have the range extender option, I believe the range extender motor will be underneath here somewhere. Yeah. All in all, a pretty decent standard spec. Front parking sensors, really like them. Just because I'm a horrible parker. It has side ultrasonic sensors. That's for your parallel park assist and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all in all, a pretty decent car. So I'm gonna go and grab something to drink probably. I think I need a cup of coffee before this meeting starts. And we shall see you guys some other time. Bye now. Now here we are, 23 minutes and a bit, 84%. So we're going to call that a day, as I'm only about 40 kilometers from Roscrea. Well, what I do like about this plug is that it's the same as my own. You just take it out. But unlike my plug, I don't have to actually release it from the car. The moment you stop your these are a little bit annoying. So you've got your, let's see now, this is the bottom one. So these are all things you'll get used to quite quickly. Anyway, here we are. Another interesting fact about the car is It's all plastic, as in carbon fibre, reinforced carbon fibre, even the top. So, yeah. Right, onwards. So here we are, 84%, and it was 115 estimate range, which I think it'll be pretty accurate. So far I've done 17.4 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. It isn't staggering, but considering I've done 100 kilometers an hour cruise control a lot of the way, it's pretty okay actually. So I've put in my destination, Church Street in Roscrea, and we shall start driving. I've yet to go through this actual entire system, but it's pretty damn detailed. It is actually pretty damn detailed. Now it's a nice high resolution screen. It's a shame it isn't touchscreen, but I suppose that's the reason why. You know, it doesn't get dirty with smudges and things like that. So yeah, on to Roscrea. Now, hello folks. Meeting in Roscrea is over. So I'm back on my way back down to Erlingford. Now, for this meeting, it's about 130 kilometres between Mallow, where I live, and Roscrea. I was planning on doing it in one charge in the Zoe. I just didn't feel brave enough to do it with the i3. Looking back on it, would I be able to do it? Probably I would, if I had the car in Eco Pro mode, and if I were to Eco Pro Plus even. If I were to actually stay off the motorway, I could probably do it in one charge. But you know, new car, and I suppose you have a little bit of range anxiety, so I decided to play it safe. Anyway, I showed two friends around the car, and yeah, they both liked it. Several different things, and there was the usual oh, that's probably a bit too expensive, and that's probably a bit too expensive, but you know, BMW being BMW, it is a luxury brand. So, but as I was saying to my wife after I rang her after the meeting, the interior of the car is really solid. It is very well put together. The services are lovely, the roof is lovely, well put together, the steering wheel is nice. You genuinely do get a sense of quality when you're driving the car, so I suppose you do get what you pay for. But it is a little out of my price range. If I were the type of fellow that would buy a BMW on a regular basis, I would most definitely buy an i3, basically because it is electric. I would have to be honest, I would get the range extender option, because at the moment driving to my in-laws in North Kerry would actually be a bit of an issue. But that's infrastructure things. BMW can't control that. I shall probably talk to you guys whenever what am I gonna try next? I think next I'm gonna try and see if I can actually get the parking assist working, which basically involves the car parking itself. And I've never done it. I've sat in the car when it was being done, but I'd actually like to see it happening, and I have a feeling it'll be quite scary. So talk to you guys then. Hello everyone. I'm near enough home. I'm about 3.5 kilometers from home, and I just got the i3 equivalent of a low battery warning. Jesus, I hope you can see this. Yeah, put it like that. So it's saying I have 11 kilometers range left. The battery bar turned orange, and I'm only about 3.5 kilometers away. But what I actually really like is that the sat nav is actually showing you the range you can do, and judging by the shape of the circle, it actually is taking gradient into effect. So it knows how high things are, and that there's steep hills. For example, I know this is a bit of a hill coming out. Then you have the N20 Cork Road is a pretty big hill, and it's actually saying you can't, or the navigation road is pretty level, so that it goes out further. So it's quite nice. Okay, I better get home. My wife will probably be wondering where the hell I am. Popped out just to quickly test out a slow charger, or a standard charger as they're known here. As you can see, 23:18 estimate time to finish. It is currently, if you can actually read it, 19:38. So that means that is it's approximately 4 hours to finish, which is about right. So that would mean that it's taking 7 kilowatt from the charger behind me, whereas Zoe will do it in an hour. And here lies my fundamental reason why I prefer my car at the moment, other than the price. The charger is just absolutely brilliant, and it cannot, it's not, no other car can do what Zoe can with regards to AC. I am very fortunate that in Ireland the vast majority of our charge points are 22 kilowatts or higher. So I can charge my car in an hour in the vast majority of all charge points. That is just a big, big plus. If there were CCS chargers everywhere, and maybe in another 5-10 years there may well be, it would be substantially different. But at the moment, on the charging front, so we would win, hands down. Right, time to order dinner. Good morning, folks. It is Sunday, and after yesterday on at the railway station, I didn't actually stay there very long. So my range this morning is still 5 kilometers. So what I'm going to do now is drive 5 kilometers and see what happens. I'm assuming that considering there's no in Zoe, when you reach 5 kilometers of range, the range disappears. It's substantially before that. This car seems to have a reserve, so your estimate range is genuinely estimate range, i.e. you'll be at least able to do 5 kilometers before something happens, and I want to see what that something is. So let's start driving. Right, here we are, 1 kilometer left. I've driven up a hill close to my house. Reason I did that is because it's downhill from here on in. Now, what I read online is that it will basically reach 0 and it'll stay on 0 or on 1 for quite a while. And at some stage the power bar will disappear. If you notice, the end of the power bar has gone grey, so I'm assuming I'm now on limited power. I can only go to about here before, I won't be able to do full power. So I'm going to assume that I'm now sort of in a reduced power mode. So we'll see what it can do in reduced power mode. Well, it can still reach a certain power, but I can't put the foot down too far. Obviously also because I'm actually still driving. Oh, the 1 kilometer has now disappeared. So it appears that I actually have reduced power now and no estimate range left. Now, and after I think I was able to drive another 1.5 kilometers, my bars at the bottom completely disappeared and it gave me a warning, which I'm not entirely sure what it did. So you can see here the bar is completely empty. The power has been has been reduced further. I was still able to drive about 2 kilometers now, admittedly mostly downhill, but you'd at least get 1 kilometer or so with, to get out of trouble. And I think I'll just drive home. Home is about 1 kilometer away, depending on which way I drive. So I'll drive home and see what it does after 1 kilometer. Okay, I've got a bit of a problem now. It has gotten stuck, and I'm at the entrance of my estate. Brilliant. Okay, looks like I'm gonna have to get somebody to help me push. Okay, we are charging. Right, so we are charging using the granny cable, thanks to friendly neighbours who have an outside socket and an extension lead. This is brilliant. Okay, I'm going to give this about an hour. I should have enough to get home. Hour or two maybe. So, thank you very much. Okay, it's been about 2 hours. It seems to be sort of semi-charging. I'm not entirely sure if it still is. It got wet a bit, so I wonder if there's a fuse that tripped. Anyway, I've got 12 kilometers worth of range, and that should get me 200 meters down the road. So basically there are two stages prior to actually coming to a halt, as you saw. I did quite underestimate the actual final stage. I was hoping it would actually do about 100 or 2 more meters, and but anyway, so let's go home, charge her up, and enjoy the rest of the day. Now we are back home. I actually was wrong. There was no fuse blown or anything like that. It just was when I unlocked the car, it stopped the charge. Yeah, that worked perfectly fine. So that was about 12 kilometers. That was I had everything set to low just to make sure I didn't blow a fuse. And there's different charge settings you can do. Let me just show you. You have charging rates you can set. So you have charging rate. It's basically for when using a granny cable. So if you've got low, reduced, and maximum, I think it's something like 16, 10, and 6 amp. But that'll be in the manual. I don't know off the top of my head. So then you also have a setting in a different charging system where you could actually set the charge when using a fast charge cable. So I set this setting to maximum when I'm using my home charge point, so that it'll actually charge at 16 amp. So if you ever find that your BMW is charging a bit slow, change that charging rate. Good evening, folks. It is the day before I'm due to hand back the car, and there's one thing that I haven't actually properly shown people. The one extra on this car is I think it's called the parking package. It has front parking sensors, rear parking sensors, reversing camera, and my favorite feature, the park assist. Now the park assist can actually do parallel parking for you. Now, I've yet to actually properly test this out, which I'm now going to do. I've just grabbed the manual and had a read up on how to actually do it. So hopefully I'll be able to actually do it. Now, I'm parked here along a street, and in front of me, there's a Chinese restaurant. Nothing to do with the parking, but it generally has a good few cars in front of it, and maybe 1 or 2 spots where I can actually park. So I'm going to drive past, and I'm going to let the park assist pick a spot where it thinks I can fit, and I'm going to let it actually park the car. Hopefully this will go okay. Now, again, I'm parked in front of the restaurant just to make sure that I'm not blocking anybody. Now in front of me there is a normal car and a white van, and there's a space between which I think I can fit. But I just have to make sure that I'm not going to cause any obstructions or any detrimental damage. So, here we go. So the idea is to press the park sensor and then see if it picks up a spot. Which it has. It's telling me to begin maneuver, stop the vehicle, turn on parking signal, press and hold the park assist button, which I am doing, and release the brake, and it is now parking itself. Oh my god! This is so weird. Oh my god. Now, just in my defense, I could have done this myself, but I always love having a computer do my own parking for me. Oh, this is brilliant. I'm sorry, but if I were to get one of these cars, this is definitely an extra I would take. Hello everyone. It is sadly time to bring back the i3 to the dealer. been a great experience the last 4 days. So I suppose I'll just give you a bit of a synopsis of the pros and cons of owning a BMW i3 in Ireland. Things I really liked about the car. The one-foot driving is brilliant. I don't think I've touched the brake more than half a dozen times in the last 4 days. The interior is rather comfortable. The specific design has started to grow on me. The interior is kind of nice. I'm still not entirely convinced about the outside, but I'd say a different colour and some nice alloy wheels will make a big difference. The car drives brilliantly. It's like a rocket. It is really powerful, really fast, great fun to drive, very quiet. The range is pretty reasonable considering its battery capacity, weight, etc. I think I managed to do a little over 120 to 130 kilometers on a charge, which is quite decent. Downsides, yeah, like I said, the looks, but that's more of a personal thing rather than actual the car's fault. For me, the biggest downside is that I'm rather spoiled with my AC charger on my Zoe. Driving to my in-laws up in North Kerry at the moment would be a bit of an issue. That's more of an infrastructure fault than the actual car, but it does go against it. The other issue that this car has is that it is relatively expensive for the size car. But then again, it's a BMW, and they always go for those kind of prices. Would I buy one? If I had the money to spare, I would love to have one, in all honesty. It has definitely grown on me. In another year or two, when the CCS infrastructure here in Ireland has matured and you can actually go all around the island of Ireland with one of these cars, yes, I would definitely get one if I had the chance. It's great fun to drive. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I didn't bore anybody to death. Thanks very much for Kiri's BMW in Little Island for letting me have this opportunity to drive this brilliant car. And as usual, thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, the usual things. And we shall see you again for the next episode, which will actually be we'll have Zoe in it, and which will actually, I should have the totals of my trip to Holland in it. I must actually dig all of the emails and bills out and actually tot up the total cost of my 3,500 kilometer, near enough, trip around 6 different countries. So see you guys next time. Thanks again for watching. Bye now.